And welcome, guys, to MACYAK number 53 we're on now. So say hi, everybody.
Hi,
Hello.
guys.
Happy New Year.
Yep. Oh, in
Hello.
fact,
Happy New
I
Year.
forgot to put that up on there. See, tonight's been a,
Oh
yeah,
man.
well, no.
I forgot to bring up the stream, so
So here we go. Welcome to MACYAK number 53. There we go. Happy New Year. So this is our first episode of 2020. So hopefully we'll be hitting a number of 100 by the end of the year.
100 what?
Episodes.
Oh,
Yeah.
episodes. Oh, yeah, we will.
hey, we're at 559 subs now.
All right. So I am
Nice.
going.
Yeah.
Greg,
Go ahead.
You should change out the background.
Hold on a second. Let me see what Jay just sent me here. See if we can actually change this. What do we got? There's only okay. You got 5 of us on here. So who are we dropping out then?
What? There's only 4 of us. There's only 5.
Yeah, but Steve will be here.
He's
Oh, that's
already
right,
here.
Mike. Never mind.
I could remain as a voice
No.
if needed.
No, that's fine.
Oh, you don't want to see my pretty face. That's
Yes.
so nice of you.
Not
Yes,
really.
we do.
But, you know.
Thanks for
All
humoring me.
right.
Jeff.
So while we're on the fly here, we'll go ahead and let you guys talk amongst yourself while I get this background that Jay's wife so graciously provided at the last minute.
Literally at 7:59.
Hey,
Well,
she got it under the wire, technically.
Yeah, true.
All right.
So I want to hear the Mac or Apple related New Year's resolutions from you guys. And from the people in the chat.
Probably to get more Macs.
All right.
To
What
recap
else?
my max, that's mine.
Oh, that's a good one. Although it wasn't in your countdown stream as a resolution.
This
Uh,
is true.
Probably for me to actually get the videos that I've been wasting time trying, not filming, actually filmed for my Max, including all the stuff that I literally got this time last year.
That sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's just try less new things. I usually am the guy with all the ideas, and I try to execute all of them, and I end up getting nothing done. So now I'm just going to focus on what I already got and build that out. So we're talking the website, YouTube channel, blog. That's going to be my focus. That's it. So,
All right. So how's that look, guys?
I don't know yet.
Oh, that's nice.
How can you already see
Because
that?
It popped up already.
What?
you don't have it on instantaneous. You must not be live.
I see it.
Oh, there we go.
It's real nice.
So thank you, Wendy, for that nice background there. It took me all of about, a minute to get everything straightened up to where it fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Looks
dig
nice.
it. All right. Now, if Rocky or Mike walks in, too bad.
Well, yeah. They'll be voice only.
Yep.
So anyways, guys, what were we talking about? Resolutions for Macs, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to reload the stream so that I'm actually live.
Yeah, guys, like I said, this show tonight's going to be kind of like, I think we're still all like suffering from vacationitis or holidayitis.
Zero preparation was done. I just came home 10 minutes ago. We don't even have overlays or anything. So we're just going to chat and wing it, which is what we do
We actually,
best.
Oh wait, we're recording? Oops.
yes, we are recording.
And if it all falls apart, we just blame Bruce.
Yeah.
You know,
That's fine.
Yeah.
he's
I'm on the
too
other
far
side
away
of
to
the
do
phone.
anything about
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's already the third there where he's at, so you know.
It is indeed. Yes.
True.
Friday lunchtime.
Yeah. So let me pull up the PDF here,
So
'cause we do have something.
we do have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, we could, if we want to, go. There's my cuckoo clock that's 5 minutes slow. we could start talking about our first topic because that's going to take a little while too, anyways. Because the new Mac Pro. I mean, we've talked about it. What, the last 4 episodes or so?
We're
No,
talking
like
about
twice.
it again.
Yes, there's
Yes,
the new
really?
new stuff actually. Because we actually
Every time.
go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, well, we haven't talked about it in 2 weeks because we didn't
So?
we haven't had an episode thing last week. Which, by the way, the Unreal Tournament game was pretty cool.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was the kill Bruce
Yeah,
guy.
it's the Kill Bruce game.
It definitely was, and it felt really
And
good.
if you missed that, I did do a Twitch stream of it. Someone will paste the link in there.
You did?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you
I
did.
didn't know that.
Where'd you paste the link at?
And it's very colorful language, so big warning there.
Yeah. If I knew you were recording, I might have held back a little. But no,
Right.
between the last episode and now, people have published, benchmarks. They did some more testing. So I think it's relevant to talk about
Yep.
again as new facts keep popping up. I actually saw a video yesterday. One of you guys linked to it. I forgot who. Linus did a face-off of iJustine and some other dude with editing. Who sent that?
I don't know.
The other dude, I think, is Taryn. He works for Linus.
Okay. So
I didn't
they did
watch
a-
the video, but
the
I think
Mac
it
Pro
looked
was
like
not
Taryn.
involved, but it did make the Mac look good because Justine won. But if she would have edited that video on her brand new Mac Pro instead of a 16-inch MacBook Pro, I think she would have blown it
Oh,
out
yeah.
in water.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you choose
Laptop.
not your fastest machine? Yeah.
I mean, why would you choose a laptop to do something? And even if the laptop still beat the other one, I still that's still like sad for PCs.
It is. But let me toss a link in the chat here.
Is that the link? The bare feets?
Yeah. So I just put a link in the chat, and depending on how live you are, it should be popping up right about
It's
now.
there.
Bare Feet did a comparison of a 2019 12-core Mac Pro with a 2010 12-core Mac Pro. And of course, the 2019 came out ahead in every single test, but not as dramatic as I would have liked to see.
Yeah, it's
So it's and the thing is, after the 5,1, starting with the trash can, the more cores you got, the slower the clock speed became. Like us 5,1 and 4,1 people, we had more cores at a higher clock speed. But that
Yeah.
all changed after the 5,1. So I figured the 12 core has a lot faster clock speed than the 28 core. It's gonna be fantastic, but I was a little disappointed with the results, to be honest. So, what do you guys
I
think?
agree with you because I would have thought that those, especially the Geekbench scores, would have been much higher. When I saw those when you posted those Geekbench scores, I was like, what? I was like, yeah, it beats it. I mean, it trashes us in single core, but multi-core, it's like, you would think it would be like way higher, but it's not.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me just read that up, because everybody's been posting Geekbench 5 results ever since the new Mac Pro came in. Like, we don't care about Geekbench 5. We want Geekbench 4, so we actually know what the numbers mean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a pretty tricked out 5,1, I think, on Geekbench 4 will score about 25,000 multi-core. I think that's about the limit.
sounds about right.
The 2019 Mac Pro for multi-core scored 80,240. Quite a
That's-
jump. That
Yeah, it is a
uh,
big jump.
yeah, that's a almost 3.5 times improvement. But that's it.
Yeah,
3.5 times.
it's not.
I expected more.
Well, if anyone's disappointed, I'd gladly take their system, just to make them
Well,
feel better.
yeah.
No, it's fast, but the first thing I thought is like, oh, that's disappointing. And the single core score, I think a maxed out 5,1 hovers around the 3,000 mark. The 2019 scored 5,411.
On single core.
So that's a 1.8. Yeah, 1.8 improvement of single core, which is to me fairly disappointing.
You would think
I mean,
10-year, a 10-year difference between the computers, it would be like way better.
yes,
Yeah.
especially in the single core
I'm
department.
thinking it should have been at least in the single core. It should have been at least 4 times or more faster than the in single core. At least 4 times or better. But when you said
Yeah.
1 point,
Because single core is where
yeah,
it's
when you
at.
said 1 point, what did you say? 1.8.
Yeah,
1.8 is like not even double.
I know. It's
And basically, it just basically proves that you still, unless you have the money to just blow, you still don't really need to update if you have a 5 comma 1.
I also, and this is rumors I've been hearing, and Brock will probably sit there and slap me for this because he's the one that actually told me this stuff, that you could probably look at the new Mac Pros coming out in the next few years, going to start supporting AMD chips.
I
what is
could
that?
believe
The
that.
Threadripper stuff?
Threadrippers, yes. And those will just totally destroy any Xeons or Intel i9s, anything that Intel has right now. Because
Well,
I
because
could-
as far
I
as
could
I
believe that.
understand, the current generation of Xeons are 2017, right?
I'm not sure.
They're already 1 or 2 years old.
The manufacturing process, I think, is, but the chips themselves just came out mid last year.
Okay.
But still, they're
So
an
this makes me pose the question: are we looking at this wrong? Like, are these scores that important, or is it the graphics power and the kind of Xeon you could put in there 10 years from now on this new socket? Is that what we should be focusing on?
Yep.
Maybe.
Well, Brock even says that's
Oh.
Intel's fault, and it is Intel's fault. Intel was relying on, the way they make chips and stuff, and they let AMD catch them, and AMD basically not only caught them but passed them.
Yeah.
Blew by
Yes,
them.
even Linus, he even had a video where Intel released their new chip a day before the new Threadrippers came out. Okay, so that all the tech bloggers and stuff would not have the new Threadripper to test it against. So they tested all against it. Of course, the new Intel is going to beat the old Threadripper, but when the new Threadripper came out, it blew that new one away. I mean, basically, it was
Right.
like a joke. And
So should Apple have gone with iSeries
No.
CPU? Like, forget the Xeon. They should have
they
put
should
an
have
i9 or i12.
they should have went with Threadrippers because that one that one you could actually have way more cores than what a Xeon can have. I mean, what's the max Xeon can have in this new Mac Pro? 128? I think it's 128 cores, I think is the max.
Oh, 28 cores.
28
CPU,
core,
yeah.
so that'd be 40 or no, I'm sorry, 60 or 54 or 56 threads or something like that.
Yeah.
So the Threadrippers have 64 cores at 128 threads.
So the Threadrippers do hyper
yes.
threading, just
Mhm.
like the Intels. So
I
would it be?
know hyper-threading's an Intel thing. I
They don't
think
call
AMD
it. They don't
does.
call it hyper-threading, but it's kind of like that. I think. I'm not sure.
I think it's just
Okay, Brock.
cores
Brock
equal
here
threads.
goes 64 core, 128 threads, 128 PCIe 4.0 lanes.
Wow.
So
So that would mean that all 8 PCI buses in the Mac Pro could be 16X.
Yes.
All
yes.
of them.
And Brock is the one to talk about that because he kind of is in the know on all that stuff. That's the reason why I use.
Oh, why isn't Brock in?
I've been trying to get him on here.
What's up, Brock? Keep talking from the shadows.
At least
Get on the
he's
call.
watching us and chatting in here. So
That's true.
yeah,
True.
keeping us honest. But
And by the way, the Geekbench scores a guy named Hugo Guerrero. I might be mispronouncing that. He shared them on Facebook. and he also shared the Cinebench R20 score. The Cinebench score was almost 10,000 on a 28-core Mac
Wow.
Pro.
That's
Now, I don't have a comparison score for a 5,
to be honest with you, that's actually kind of low compared to some of the other chips out there because I've seen Cinebench scores a lot higher.
But is that CPU? Or
CPU.
GPU?
The Cinebench is CPU
Okay.
only, not GPU. So you're not going to get that. Now, Jake said AMD calls it SMT, simultaneous multi-threading. That's what AMD calls it.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, hyper-threading sounds a lot better.
it does.
So they call it S.
But so, if the current scores and testing and stuff are disappointing, I think it was Dana. Dana referred me to one of iJustine's videos where she did an actual. Well, it was pretty lame, but she tried to do a test where she was rendering some kind of photo thing, stitching photos together to make a 3D model, while watching 8 simultaneous 8K video streams, and that just worked. Not a hiccup or stutter or anything about it. So there's not a real comparison to be made there, but I'm pretty damn sure a 5,1 would melt through the ground trying to pull that off.
Well, yeah.
So
I don't think.
I don't
But
know.
most people aren't going to be doing that, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's not the point. If you can do it, you want to do it at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like Jay's got all those, those cluster nodes. He wants to do at least one time a big cluster, right?
Yep. Yep. I'm still waiting for more Patreon support so I can foot the power bill for that experiment. But is the current Mac Pro, with the limited testing we have available, with the Geekbench and the Cinebench and all that, is it still good value for the money?
Okay, to be honest with you, for me, myself personally, I can wait because for me, it's not worth it right now.
You have
Yeah.
to wait.
We all have to wait.
It's the
Except for Grudy, he's sitting there still thinking about it. See,
yeah.
What? Getting a new
Yeah.
Mac Pro? I definitely can't afford it now after buying all those minis.
so he buys a bunch of old, outdated computers when he could have bought one brand new one.
Well,
Sounds
what would you
exactly
rather
like my
have?
predicament.
One really cool Mac Pro or a butt ton of really cool little
One
Macs?
cool Mac Pro.
Really?
Yes.
I think it's smart though. You never want to buy revision A, especially an Apple product. They're gonna change up a whole bunch of things, even if
Well,
it's cheaper SSD prices or faster CPUs. Just in 12 months or so, they already have the case, they already have the board. They're gonna do incremental updates pretty quickly, I'm gonna guess.
well, and that's what I was talking about is that in the next year or two, you're probably going to see an AMD supported board because it has to be it has to be a different socket because AMD and Intel sockets are totally different. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
and
of course.
they have different
So-
architecture.
But they've already proved that the board is upgradable in the Mac Pro. Totally. It's basically modular and just swaps right in and
Yeah.
out. So,
I don't think Apple would go that far. It's not going to be something they offer, at least. You might be able to buy one on eBay at some point or something, but they're not going to offer that level of upgradability because you're dealing with, just migrating your data over. You can't just take the SSDs out and put them into the new board. The T-chip is going to scream
Exactly.
at
I was
you.
going to say the T2 chip
So-
is just going to be like,
yeah, but it might be an Apple upgrade option.
Maybe.
Bring
But
it into
the current socket,
Genius and yeah.
because the CPU is what, like
It's
this big now?
huge.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but that socket is ready for the next decade, right?
But yeah, when you're talking about 28 cores, I mean, it has to be that big. And all those PCIe lanes that they have now on it, you have to have all those data inputs now.
But with our
I would hope
five-
that socket is future proof because
yeah, because with
any
our
of the
5,1s, we hit the limit with
Pretty
that,
darn quick.
because of the socket,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep,
with this
the
new
socket.
socket,
I mean, I'm not a huge PC person, but they switch out sockets like sockets every
like bath water.
it seems like every year or so, you know.
It's pretty. PCs, every time they come out with a new motherboard or a new CPU, they have to come out with a new motherboard along with it. I mean, that's just the way PCs work sometimes, you know. At least ours were upgradable to an extent. I mean, and I think that the Mac Pros went the same route, you know. It was basically, oh, you can only upgrade it to a certain point, and then boom, you're dying off. But I'm actually surprised that the 2009 all the way to 2012 Mac Pros were all the same, and you could actually do everything the same. You know, that shocked me that they didn't make any real changes in between those models.
Yeah.
I think the current value for the money, I think, is justified if you buy a base model and do all the upgrades yourself, like we have been doing. Don't get your RAM from Apple. Don't get your CPU from Apple. Just buy a base model, enjoy it for a few months to a year, and then start buying cheap upgrades.
So you're saying get OWC then?
Hell no.
First off, that's not cheap upgrades to begin with, but still.
Yeah.
No, but if you have the money to buy a fully spec'd out Mac Pro, control yourself, take a step back, buy the base specs, and do everything yourself. Snooty Labs showed that NVMe drives work just as well in the new Mac Pro as in the old one.
Are you talking about Snazzy?
Snazzy Labs. What did
Snooty.
I say?
Snooty.
Well,
Okay, he's never going to want to be on our show now. Thanks a lot, Jay.
That's Jay's new channel, Snooty Rant.
Snooty Labs. Let me register that right now. So you have your expandability. So don't go with the cheap 256 gigabyte SSD. Just go it, put it in, ignore it, and just put an NVMe in. Get 64 gigs of RAM or whatever the base is. I think 32, and buy the rest next year. Go with a CPU that'll carry you for at least 1 or 2 years if the upgrade is going to take a while. And the rest is just doing what we've been doing. Just upgrades, third party, and, void warranty. That's what we do best.
Exactly. Now,
Bruce is just smiling. He's like, yo, keep talking smack. I just pre-ordered mine yesterday. Whatever.
He's like,
No, I tell you, it was interesting. I was watching all those videos, people doing different benchmarks and trying out different things on them. The one thing they all said, and how important is this, I don't know, that the new Mac Pro is incredibly quiet. So whenever they're doing them side by side with, sort of with whatever they're using, whatever they're testing it up against, fans are going like crazy. The Mac Pro is completely quiet. So, there's something for people who.
That I haven't seen yet. By the way, I haven't seen any temperature readings on the full load or anything like that. So I'm curious.
I've seen some, and they are really low. It was like I think I'm just trying to remember. I don't want to misquote here, but I think it was like. Idling, it was sitting at about sort of 30-something degrees, and I don't think it really got much higher. I
think the heat sink's like this big.
Yeah, but it's a passive heat sink too. It's not.
Wow.
Remember.
Yeah, but there's air
I
still
understand
flowing
that,
through it.
but the GPUs they have on it are passive heat sinks, as well as the CPU coolers is a passive heat sink. There's no fans attached to it, so it's actually utilizing the case fans for all its airflow, which means does those fans ramp up if they get hotter? I mean, that's another question. I mean, in our Mac Pros, we can control all the fans in there at different speeds and stuff, depending on what part's getting hot. Like the dual processor units have a fan on each heatsink that is able to be controlled. I mean, here's the thing.
The video I watched this morning, it wasn't that good a video, but in that he was looking at the fans, and their slowest speed, I think, is around about 500 RPM, and they go up to 2,500 RPM at the top. Now, if you crank them right up to 2.5, you can definitely hear them. But even when they were under load, they were barely ticking over. They were, sort of right down the bottom.
Wow.
That's interesting. Well, I did see, I think Snazzy Labs, I won't call it like Jay did, but he showed the fans in there. They're shrouded fans too. They're not like a normal fan where the blades are separate from the outside shroud. The shroud's actually attached to it, so the whole thing rotates, which they say is what keeps it cooler. And Apple also says doesn't need dust. It doesn't pull in dust or anything, which I'll
Yeah, it's bull.
yeah, yeah.
It's bull.
I agree with you on that. I don't buy that for a minute. I mean, you put that in a dusty work environment, it's going to get dust in it. I don't care what kind of computer it is, it's going to get in there.
No, but that would be dander, not dust. Apple probably has some technical booklet with a glossary of exactly what they consider dust. But I think it'd be interesting because obviously, Apple's always been about performance per watt and all this stuff to be more efficient. I think it would be very interesting to see as these CPUs, get more mature, and as the the heating and the cooling technologies or whatever heat management stuff improves too, what they could actually shove in there. Because I'm sure right now that those aren't the fastest chips they could shove in there. It's probably the fastest chips they can shove in there that are going to be cool enough to their liking.
Exactly, and I agree with you on that. I mean, look at me right now. My Mac Pro right now is ticking along. The CPU A is at 50 degrees, CPU B is at 49, and that's basically doing this Skype with OBS running, rendering video, pushing it out, watching it on another screen. I've got other stuff up and running. So, I mean, to me, that suits me fine. It does what I need it to do right now. So I don't.
Well, if the new Mac Pro is able to stay under 40, that is very impressive.
Yes.
Because I have to use fan control, and I'm creeping up to 50 right now.
Well,
50 Celsius for each CPU, and I'm not doing anything. So,
sure, because you usually have those virtual machines in the background.
Well, I got all that stuff running, but that's not really anything. Like if I pull up Activity Monitor and I look at my cores, I may be utilizing 2 cores right now total.
Okay.
So I'm actually thinking of switching my primary 5,1, switching everything over to the 4,1, just because the CPUs run that much cooler in that, which I attribute to the delidding.
I believe it is the
I
delidding.
honestly,
I think it is because you got that one less layer that stops it from,
I honestly think it was, even though it was a pain for Intel, because Intel specifically made those CPUs just for the 4,1 Mac Pro.
The dual processor, because the single processor was lit.
Yeah, the dual.
Yeah.
But I think Apple should have kept going with it, even though Intel probably complained some.
I think they made enough money off of Apple to look past those complaints.
Yeah, true. But I always thought the 4,1, of course, it's got to cool better.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of like my 4,1 in a way, because Jay and I have the same CPUs in ours, and I think we got the 5975s.
Bruce does too.
Yeah.
And I have them delidded. I delidded it myself. I didn't polish them like a lot of people say to do, but I think that having the heatsink directly to the die helps it keep it cooler, because having that other heat spreader between the CPU and the heatsink that's a lot of thermal loss right there.
Yep.
Yeah, I might try that in 2025 when I have some time.
2025.
I really need to delid my 80s and stick them in.
And what?
You need to do a lot of things.
Yes.
Well, I've been meaning to delid the 80s for over a year now.
Yeah, but he also needs to not do MACYAK on a Windows machine.
Yeah. On that I will agree. So,
all right.
Knowing what we know now, has our opinion on the new Mac Pro changed at all?
Not really.
No.
Mine either.
I think it's...
I see it for what it can be. in the next decade. Not for
Yeah.
what it
Well,
is
yeah,
right
because
now.
like Steve said, when he was here, he says it's revision A. It's gonna have its little speed bumps or hiccups. Never buy the first version.
Yeah. It's like I was going to order mine, but I decided to wait.
I mean, really, when you consider the Macs that we're using, the 5.1s, I mean, the main thing the Mac Pro has is that sort of modularity. It's the way you can, you can expand it, that you can't get from, sort of the other Apple offerings. So that's the main thing. We know that in sort of years to come, when we do end up with a second-hand one, we'll be sort of putting faster CPUs and, faster drives and all that sort of stuff in it. So that, to me, is the main thing.
Yeah.
Yep, because people will start tricking them out soon, and you'll see them make them the fastest in the world. So, Grudy, you won't be making any world's fastest Mac Pro videos for a long time. So,
Yeah. I
had
doubt
your
I could
chance.
ever do that, honestly.
No, you've had your 4.1 for over a year. You could have done it.
You know how expensive that would be, Jay, and I'd have to
could have
do
done it.
Okay, how much-
and all
But
that
you
stuff.
how
have
much
done
did
it.
you spend on all those Mac Minis just now?
Let's not talk about that.
See?
There you go.
All right, so I think we beat this one down. So let's go ahead. Yeah.
little bit.
Next topic, I think I came up with this one: DisplayPort versus Thunderbolt.
Yes.
Why can you use a 2009-2010 iMac as a target display, but not anything after using DisplayPort? And that's a very good question, because all of the iMacs that have the mini DisplayPort type connector, because Thunderbolt actually did use the mini DisplayPort connector
For 1 and 2. Yeah.
So the thought is, a lot of people are kind of upset that you cannot use a 2011 or 2012 and up iMac as a target display, because
You can use the
you
2011.
can only in Thunderbolt. You can't do it
You can only in Thunderbolt.
only in Thunderbolt.
Yes,
That's the
Yeah.
question we're having here is
right.
why can't
right.
you use it as a mini DisplayPort when it can actually, that same Thunderbolt does put out mini DisplayPort signals. Okay. You
Right.
can actually connect another external display, mini DisplayPort wise, to that. So why can't it take the same signals in? That's the question we're talking
That's
about.
because the protocol for Thunderbolt Bolt will allow you to send DisplayPort out, but not receive DisplayPort in. That's the whole reason.
So it's just a Thunderbolt issue then.
Yes, that's the main reason, literally.
Well, I'm kind of glad I still have my 2009 one, 27-inch, because that is actually makes a very nice external display. It's a 1440p display, which is really nice. It's almost, I would say it's almost like a retina. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's sharp. It's really
it
sharp.
is.
I kind of wish I had one.
it is, and I like it. It works for that purpose. I mean, now I'm using a ultra wide curve monitor that I bought just recently. So that's now my iMac is sitting over here in the corner. So, but it will get used. It will get used.
Yeah, just hook it up as an additional screen.
I could do that.
Put it. Yeah, get a Visa mount for it and mount it on
Actually,
top of your
I already have
display.
a Visa mount. Remember,
All right, well,
I got two of them
Get
from
two.
you.
Oh, that's right. You did. Yeah. Well, get
You
to it.
forgot about that,
Cool,
didn't
cool.
Yeah, I still got about 20 of them. They just keep
you?
stacking up.
So I'm glad you came up with that, Broody, because we were discussing that, why we couldn't use that, but I still don't see why they still couldn't make it to where they could use it as a target display, except for Thunderbolt.
It's just the way the protocol works. It can't receive display in. It can just send it out.
But okay, what if you're not using the Thunderbolt though? You just want to use the
It
display
won't
port.
work.
That's.
It just won't work. Yeah.
I have a Thunderbolt display. I'm not too terribly impressed with it. I gave it to my wife to use it as a third display, and I'm still using my two crappy 24-inch 1080p screens where the pixels are this big, and I'm just fine with it.
Well, you know what's
Yeah.
funny is this new display I got is a 1080p display, but it's 3840 wide. So
Yeah, and I'm sad to say, man, I'm not going to be watching your races anymore because I can't see it.
I got to figure out the problems on that, why it's doing all that. It's got to be something with the encoding or something. So once I figure that out.
No, it's it's not the pixelation, it's the size. Even if
No,
I go
no, I
full
changed
screen,
that.
I can't read
I
the
changed
text.
that. Now it's back to 1080, 1920 by 1080 on the stream.
Okay.
So you're seeing what I see in the middle. You're getting the sides
All right.
cut off.
That works. Yeah. I would hate to stop watching you driving in circles.
Well, you haven't watched in a while, so.
Because I couldn't see anything. And I thought your timings were bad when you were on the West Coast.
Yeah.
But it actually got worse now that you're on the
Yeah.
East Coast. Like, you stream at the worst possible times. The worst.
Hey, Matt's text said he thinks Grudy is saying it can only act as a display out. It can only halfway act as a mini display port. So basically, yeah, that's probably correct. It's only half of mini display port.
Yeah. Only half, because you can use the Thunderbolt to display onto a mini display, a display-port monitor.
Yeah, that's Thunderbolt.
But you
yeah.
can't plug like a system that's using just DisplayPort into it. Use it as a target
Yeah.
display.
So you would need another Thunderbolt out to basically use this target, because it still will do target display mode. It just won't. It'll only do it with
Yeah.
Thunderbolt instead of.
Only Thunderbolt to Thunderbolt. Yep.
So, yeah, we were.
I'll stick with my DVI connection.
Well, that's what I have in this one is the DVI on this one. This display that I got now has DVI, HDMI, and mini display port. It has 4 different connectors on it.
Well, most of my connectors are DVI, so it's getting really hard to find monitors that have DVI.
Yeah, it is.
Really?
I have so many HDMI to DVI adapters now because all these new monitors just won't let me plug anything.
Yeah, a lot of them nowadays are coming out with just HDMI, and that's pretty much it.
DisplayPort.
Sometimes DisplayPort, yeah.
Yeah.
That's lame.
Yeah, there's actually, I have, my dad bought a 1080p monitor a little bit before he passed, and he never got to use it, so I've been using it, and it only has a VGA port and an HDMI port in the back of it. Why VGA?
Because it's superior.
Yeah, it must be superior.
Well, I actually still have a monitor sitting here that does VGA. It has VGA, DisplayPort, and DVI. So I'm keeping that monitor around for stuff that I need to connect to that. But then I have another monitor that I bought before this one. It was about 6 months ago. I bought it real cheap. It's a 1080 by 1920 monitor. So it's crappy, but it's 24 inches. Or no, 27 inches. But anyways, it only has HDMI and DVI. That's it. Nothing else.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I keep buying these screens that burn themselves out every 3 years, and they're cheap, and they work, and they have every possible connection you can think of.
Well, you got how many cinema displays up there on the shelf?
Behind me or next to me?
Behind me or next
Yeah.
to me.
There's a whole bunch of them over there. Behind me is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, cinema.
But those are all, what is it called? ADB and DVI.
Yeah.
But my Mac has too many display ports, 1 DVI and 1 HDMI,
Well,
I'm utilizing 3 of them to power my displays. So
what I do is I just buy the display port to DVI or whatever connector I need, because they have a lot of active adapters. I even have a display port to VGA.
Interesting. How about you there, Bruce?
I basically have a sort of a big Samsung screen and then 2 of the, what were they called, the I think cinema displays. I think there was the aluminium ones, and I'm just this one is on DVI, and then one of them I've had to connect into the to an HDMI port with a DVI to HDMI adapter. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, whatever you end up with, it's not what you want. You end up having to use an adapter somewhere.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so we can go ahead, and I guess that was a pretty quick topic, actually. I was trying to drag it on a little bit there, but I don't think we can drag this one on much more.
Hey, if it's a short show, it's a short show. It's all good.
All right, the next one's I'm going to throw over to Grudy because I think this is his wheelhouse. The cheapest possible way to upgrade Wi-Fi and Bluetooth in your Mac Pro.
I thought this was Jay's
Oh, is it
topic.
Jay's?
It is, and then I bounced it over to you.
Well, yeah, you wanted me to find all the information about it,
Yeah, so
which
go
I
ahead,
did
dude.
in 5 minutes a few
All right.
hours ago.
Cool. And now you get to talk about it for half an hour. So go ahead.
I don't think I'm going to be able to talk about it for half an hour.
Now, what I want to know, because it still comes up on the various Facebook groups every day, like, hey, I just got this adapter from AliExpress. Someone paid $200
What?
for freaking Wi-Fi and Bluetooth
Yeah, I
upgrade.
just saw that post, actually.
And I'm like, okay, there has to be a good way to do this, and Grudy is going to tell you all about it.
Well, basically what you're making is the OSXWiFi.com adapter, only cheaper. And that's it.
Okay, explain.
All right,
Next
where do we
topic.
get
Yeah.
this stuff?
Well, I have to actually pull up the list because I, for the life of me,
Well, how
can't
about you
remember.
actually do that?
Okay,
Because me, I don't care for Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. I don't use either.
well, we know Grudy
But
is...
if I was going to upgrade my Bluetooth, I would just get one of those USB thingies, stick it in the front of my Mac Pro, and be done with it.
Yeah.
You know, why go through?
Well,
all the
if you
hassle?
want native Bluetooth 4.0, I think it's actually 4.1 or 4.2. They're all the same, really. It's just a little bit power management, I think, is a little different. That's it. Any Bluetooth 4.0 or 4.x is basically the same. Like the new Mac Pro is actually at 5.0, but 4.0 is still modern. So if you want native 4.0 and native AC Wi-Fi, so you can have the AirDrop and handoff, you need to actually get a Wi-Fi card from a 2014 iMac. And what you need is a BCM 94360 CD, which they actually made that in many different in different cards for Macs. You need the one specifically for the 2013-2014 iMac, which has the 4 large antenna connectors on it. You need the 4 large antenna connectors, otherwise you can't plug any antennas into it.
So something like this, stretch, from a MacBook Pro is no good?
Actually, I can't tell.
It's
Yeah,
blurry.
they're probably the small
It's
connectors.
blurry.
Yeah.
It's not focusing.
It has 3 antenna connectors.
Yeah, but they look like the small connectors.
They are.
You need to make sure they're the big connectors, otherwise you can't plug your Mac Pro
What if
antennas
you
in.
got
Okay.
a adapter to connect the small to big?
You probably could do that. The thing is, it's like calling mini-u.fl to regular.fl, but it would be a big pain to do. So I just recommend getting the, what was it again? Darn it, it closed out. What the heck?
That Windows Live.
He's on his phone.
I'm on a phone, dude. Where'd it
That
go?
Wi-Fi life.
The
Okay,
Millennial
yeah.
Live.
Like I said, you need the iMac version, the BCM 94360 CD. And if you're making this adapter, it will work in any Mac Pro from the 1,1 through the 5,1. But there are some caveats here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, you need to make sure it's the one with the 4 large antennas, once again. But what you're going to need is an adapter which will convert the a connector that's on the bottom of the 94360 CD into mini PCIe, so it will plug into the slot in your Mac Pro. Also, you could technically just plug it into a PCIe adapter card, but I wouldn't do that. But that's all you need is this adapter. But if you're using it for the 4,1/5,1, you need a lot more stuff, because the 1,1 through 3,1, the slot has USB in it. So you just plug it in, plug in the antennas in the proper order, which you'd have to look up online, and you just go to town. It works. Also, you have to be running at least Yosemite or later for this card to work. But basically, you plug it in on those, it works. But for 4,1, 5,1, you need a lot more. So this adapter, you have to make sure has a USB header on it. You don't have to make sure if you have a 1,1 through 3,1. But if you have this USB header, you're good. But you also now need a wire to run from the USB header all the way over across the bottom to the Bluetooth header on the board. You have to unplug the native Bluetooth. And this wire you can't really get pre-made unless you get it from osxwifi.com, and they won't sell it to you unless you have proof you bought a card from them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make it yourself. And the nice thing is the native Bluetooth has a wire that is about yay big that goes from the little module that's built in. And what you can do is you can just cut that wire, and you just need the plus and negative, the plus and minus data lines wired into this wire that you're running from the USB header on the card to the port in the board. And once you have that wired together and plug it in, it should work. The other problem, though, is the Bluetooth antenna happens to be on the other end of the Mac Pro and won't reach all the way to the card, so you can plug it in. So you need a U.FL extension cable, which plugs into the wire, and then you stretch it over into that if you want to use the built-in Bluetooth antenna. But if you don't want to do that, you can also just buy a U.FL antenna to plug into that area, plug into the card itself, and then you can route it up and feed it out the back of the computer and have
my brain just exploded.
Sounds to me like you're really going to want to do this.
Yeah, this is why a lot of people just suck it up and spend the absurd amount of money for OSX.
Well,
let me ask you this. Everything you just talked about, are you going to type that out for us so we can put it in the video description?
I already did.
Or you could actually make a good blog post about how to do this and put it on MACYAK.
Well, I would do that. The thing is, I already have the osxwifi.com adapter because back when I bought it, it was about a fourth the price it is now.
But Grudy doesn't type. He dictates everything. So unless you want to read 5 paragraphs of nonstop Siri, he doesn't write for the blog.
Yeah.
I'm curious how Siri will translate the dog barking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what you do. And then instead of spending, I want to say they're selling them for like $150 or $200 now. Instead of spending all that, you're spending about $20 to $30 to make the adapter.
But you still need to buy the card.
Right,
How much is
I'm going to buy those parts, and I'm going to make a video about it.
You should.
See how easy it is, or how hard it is.
It doesn't seem to be that hard, but I already have.
Well, Jay, you could actually write up a good blog thing there because you're good at doing that versus Grudy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I apologize for being.
Find the iMac Wi-Fi card. But
what year was it again? The iMac card that you
2014 or better.
Okay.
Well, no, it's I think it's just the 2014. It's the late 2013 and the 2014.
Okay, because I have a 2013 that's parts. I wonder if
it might
it's a
have that
model
card
or not.
It might.
I will have to check.
Yeah.
All right. Looking forward to tinkering with that. Because even though I'm never going to use it, $20-$30, I'm willing to invest to do a video or a blog about it, just to give other people step by step to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with my work machine, if I have to transfer file, that AirDrop thing is super helpful. I love using that, and it's something I do miss when I use my machine at home.
And it worked natively on my computer in High Sierra. For some reason, it got disabled in Mojave, and I have to do the patches and all the hacks to get it to work again.
Oh, wait a second. I'm on Mojave. Tell me more.
Yeah. I don't know how you do it.
For you,
That's
Jay.
the problem. They have it written up. I don't want to do it right now.
Is this one of those things that every time you update your OS or something, it's going to break?
Probably.
All right, forget it. I'm out.
I mean, it worked natively in Sierra and El Capitan and High Sierra.
Jay, I'm running Catalina on my Mac Pro right now, so.
Well, you're an idiot.
No.
Clearly.
I had to run this video card.
You didn't have a choice because of the new graphics card.
Exactly.
Well, I have High Sierra on my 2012, so I'd be happy to test it on there.
If downgrading wasn't such a pain in the ass, I'd be on High Sierra too. Because unfortunately,
and that's why you just never upgrade.
I had to. I write about this stuff. I kind of had to upgrade to experience it firsthand. But unfortunately, by the time Catalina came out, Mojave never really fully matured into a stable OS.
And now it is.
I find it pretty stable.
I miss the days where the OS updates went up to the double digits like Tiger.
Yes.
You knew you got
10.4.11 for the win.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That means it had an update once a month, right?
Well, actually, Tiger was out for 15 months? It was the longest running OS 10 ever.
Yeah, probably because of the Intel switchover as well.
Well, it was that, and because they were developing the iPhone at the time and decided to kick Leopard to the side until the iPhone came out.
Matt says, put Steve on the screen. There's a blank spot. But Steve is here. Yes. He's just audio.
I'm driving.
I think we both hit it at the same time there, Jay, because I told the same thing. I'm like,
okay, I see it now.
I said he isn't on video; he's audio only.
If I put the video on, you'll see a nice police officer pull me over. I'm sure.
Ooh, turn it on.
Yeah.
No.
I want to see that.
See Steve getting handcuffed and thrown in the back of a squad car. Yeah. Only on MACYAK.
Click like and subscribe.
Click like and subscribe.
One last question, Rudy. So you're talking $30, give or take, for all the parts. Does that include the Wi-Fi card?
Yeah, if you can find them cheap enough, used on eBay. Because if you buy them new, they cost about $60. But if you buy them used on eBay, they go for between $20 and $30 bucks. The adapter and all the wires you need, it's going to be just a few dollars.
Yeah, I'll check the recycle bin tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go.
That.
Yeah.
Matt says he got his for $40.
See?
All right, so I'm looking on eBay right now for that card, and let me see. Hold on a second.
I need to know a little bit more about all the patching and stuff for Mojave that you're talking about to see if I want to go that route.
Okay, there's adapters they're selling on there. You could buy up to $4. The adapter itself, you could buy for $4.
Matt says he got his for $5.
The adapter or the card?
The adapter.
Yeah,
adapter.
I'm seeing them on eBay for like $5 all over the place. I mean, I haven't even got to where the damn card is yet because I just filtered, lowest to.
Are you going to be there a while?
Yeah, probably all the cards. Yeah, I don't see any.
I guess
on here.
I'm the exception, definitely not the rule, but I just prefer Ethernet, and everything wireless can go suck it. My keyboard is wired, my mouse is wired, my Mac is wired, my whole network is wired. I only have Wi-Fi for my phone, really.
I'm exactly the same way, but the problem is, let's say I want to share a photo I took on my phone. Plugging in the USB cable and having image capture read my phone for about 5 minutes before it decides what it wants to do.
Yeah.
It's
Why
much
would
less
you do that?
efficient than just airdropping something.
If I have a picture or a file on my phone that I want to get to my Mac, I just iMessage it to myself.
Well, here's another.
I would do that too, but at least for me in High Sierra, the syncing of iMessage sometimes is all convoluted.
But here's
and
another.
I have to send myself messages directly for the damn thing to unstuff itself.
But here's another option too: is iCloud file, file transfer. You just put it.
Yeah, I always forget about that. But then it's especially what I'm talking about is like a little 4K video clip. So it's like maybe a few hundred megs or something.
Okay.
So it has to upload and then download and.
It looks like the price has gone up on the card. I guess they're getting popular. But the lowest one I see here is $39.99 now. So
actually, nope. I see one for
$50.
I see one for $33.83. So I don't know where you're looking at.
I'm out. I'm out.
$50 altogether is not too bad for.
It is if you never intend to use it. Like I'll gladly make a video or a blog about it, but I'm not spending more than $20 on the whole thing. So if anyone wants to donate the parts to me,
well, you might find the card in the parts bin, Jay. You know that.
Yeah, I might.
All right, so
we'll see.
Let's go ahead and move on to news and announcements here. Jay, what did you do just recently?
I did a live stream. Who put that in?
You did, I guess.
No,
you did.
Not even news. I didn't put that in.
Well, somebody did. It wasn't me.
Yeah. Well, I did a live stream. That's it. That's it. I recapped Nick's Xserve G5 power supply.
And it was a good live stream. Don't sell yourself short.
And then
it was an absolutely fantastic live stream.
It was a great live stream. And then Nick found out that his G5 is dead.
The audio was messed up a little bit, but OBS made it pretty easy.
Yeah.
I didn't see any major technical difficulties. I fixed the power supply, and I tested it on stream, and it works beautifully. Sent it over to Nick, and unfortunately, he now has a working power supply, and everything else is dead. But it was a good stream.
Yeah.
I might do some more live streams in the future, but there's a lot more to it than just pointing a camera at you and hitting go live.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of it. You got to keep an eye on the chat. You got to keep an eye on the dropped frames if there are any.
It's challenging.
Yeah, and all I have was my phone camera and an old Logitech camera, which the quality sucked. So
now you understand why I'll go all fancy with my video and I just shoot it.
Because you're lazy.
That too, but still.
Yeah, dogs barking and all.
Yep.
Well, my news, I actually added this one in, is I actually rescued a PowerMac G4 from being crunched up. Nice. And it's got a bad power supply, but I will have one coming in next week. And it's a dual processor, 450 gigabit Ethernet G4.
Would that be what's behind you?
That is exactly what's behind me back there.
Well, we're trying to fill in some time here. We still have an hour to go. Show it off, GT.
I'm not picking that thing up. No, I'm not.
Oh, come on.
How much did the power supply set you
back? What was it? $50, I think.
What? $50? What?
That's because hey, that was the cheapest one I could find that would fit this one.
Dude, really?
Mm-hmm.
You might as well have just tried to fix yours.
No, I looked at this thing. It was a little bit more than what I thought as I was digging through that thing.
That's why you send it
Even
to Jay.
sending it
He
to
fixes
Jay
it,
would have
and
been
then I
cheaper
buy
than
it off of
that.
him.
Jay would look at this thing and be like, "Nope."
Hey, as long as it's someone else's, I'll gladly pull it apart and try to fix it. But
That's
no
why
guarantees.
you still have so many of mine.
And
Yeah.
that he still has them, right?
Yeah.
Oh, one
He
of them
still
is
has
open. I started recapping it. Still not working. So it needs some more cap.
Yeah. Well, this one actually had some burn marks in it, so there were some issues with some overheating parts in there. I mean, there was even the one of the transistors that's on the heat sink inside of there was showing some signs of overheating. So I think that transistor is probably dead. I think there's a coil in there that may be bad.
Got a little toasty.
Oh yeah. The resistor there, from what I could tell, I mean, I could barely read the colors on the color code, but it looks like it's a 25 watt resistor. It's not a small resistor. It's a huge one. But that thing was messed up. There's just a whole bunch of different things in there. So I was like, yeah, $50. Yeah, Matt, it's 50.
Hey, you should have sent your power supply to Bruce.
But I didn't spend as much on stuff as Greg did on all those Mac Minis.
Well, we know Greg is irresponsible and blows money on just about anything. We expect better from you.
But this is my first. This is my first G4, Power Mac G4 ever. Yes.
Ah.
I have an iMac G4, but I never had a Power Mac G4.
Ah.
So this is going to be a project for me.
Like I told him, it's going to be a perfect UT99 game.
There we go.
Machine.
I'm going to put OS 9 on it too, by the way.
Sweet.
And I already threw in the hard drive I took out. It's funny because I threw in the hard drive that I took out of my iMac G4. So I'm hoping it'll just boot up from that. It should. I mean,
it should.
It should.
Yeah, I have the same problem though, Greg, because I have a G4 Dual that the power supply is literally missing. There is none in there, so I'm assuming it failed and somebody took it out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have another one that does have a power supply, but
this one,
I'm always on the lookout for
when
one.
I plugged the mains into it, you could see the lights blink a little bit, like it was getting some power and then not doing anything. No fan spin or anything. So
Any cool smells?
no, actually nothing. So there's something burnt up enough in there that it's not letting the power get through at all. So
you'll figure it out.
Yep. Like I said, once I get the new power supply, then hopefully everything else will work. He had like 1 gigabyte of memory in it, so that's a good thing. It's got a VGA card in it, so I might upgrade that one of these days. Who knows?
Yeah, put a Titan in there or something.
Yeah, it's got a standard like old VGA, just.
Oh, the Rage 128 probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. So it's got one of those in there. What else does it have in there? It's got, like I said, the dual processors, but that's about it. It doesn't have Wi-Fi.
Does it have a zip drive?
No. Nope. Just the CD.
Well, it's probably good it doesn't have Wi-Fi because it's just 802.11b anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, the guy was going to give it to Best Buy to, basically they were probably going to just crunch it up. The case has some issues too. In fact, Grudy, I need to talk to you about the plastic piece that locks it in. You know what I'm talking about? The latching pieces on the top are broke and missing.
Yeah, that means it got dropped really hard at some point.
Yeah. So those two are missing.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is replace it.
Yeah. So the only way I keep it closed now is I have to pull the lock out to keep it.
Yeah, that's the only way to do
it.
Yeah. Or a strip of duct tape like I used to do.
That looks ugly. I just pulled a little lock mechanism out.
Yeah, it's the only other way to do it.
In fact, the guy had some clear tape on it to hold it closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just need that plastic piece in the back to, you know, the locking
The
mechanism.
only thing you gotta do is take the logic board out, take the 4 screws out in the tray, and swap them.
Yeah.
They show up on eBay every once in a while. You just gotta make sure it's the one for the G4 because there is a cutout in it. You can't use the blue and white version because there's no cutout. You'd have to cut it out yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I actually have tools that I could do that with, unlike you that probably just snip stuff around, right?
I get creative.
Yeah. We know
creative.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, Grudy has a hot air.
Is that what you call it when you start bleeding as well?
Yeah. Creative.
Well, it's not.
Well, you know, blood's a good conductivity kind of thing. There.
Yes.
It's
It helps with conductivity.
It's not a Rucke Mods video without blood.
True.
Exactly.
That's why the logo is half red.
And
Exactly.
And it looks like it's
and
blood.
that's why the logo bleeds.
Speaking
We should have
of
a little animated Greg bleeding on the logo.
speaking of logos, there, stickers. Has anybody received any?
For
I'm-
shame.
Like I keep saying, I'm mailing everything out at once. I've got
Bull.
Steve's
So, yeah,
stack sitting in my
2021.
garage. I've got Jay's stack
Bull.
sitting upstairs. And then I've got Mike's
Bullshit.
stack sitting in the garage.
Stop it. It's all lies.
Well, when it all goes out, it all goes out.
I think I just set the bar too high by immediately getting mine and shipping them out.
Meanwhile, you
Yeah.
today received 3 boxes from me that I sent out this very week.
Yeah, and I'm going to be opening them after this live stream. I'm going to be filming it.
Live?
That should be fun.
Live?
No, probably not.
What?
Yeah, which is good because I'll probably get a pass out soon.
Yeah, me too. I'm still.
I'm still stuck in 1990 or no, 2019.
1919.
Yeah, that's how it
1999
feels.
sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Hey, we don't have Mike, but we still have the cats.
That's true. So, Steve, how much longer till you get home?
I am probably about 3 minutes away.
Okay, so
I'm stuck in the traffic
guys, we got to drag this out for like 3 minutes before we get to Steve's
Oh.
subject. So,
All right,
Sorry.
well,
so
let me
Bruce,
look
you got
something
anything you want to add, or
Oh, by the way,
oh.
real quick, let me answer Matt's question. Yes, Matt, eBay. They actually have them pre-made for like $50 for Hackintoshes. It should work in a regular Mac. So there you go.
okay, now Bruce.
Well, all I was going to say is I think a lot of people's New Year's resolution has been to get their vintage Macs recapped, because I've sort of taken quite a large delivery of lots of boards for recapping. So I'm going to be doing a few recapping videos are going to be coming up. I'm going to be, and I think I mentioned this before, I'm going to be doing one where just trying to do recapping with minimal equipment, you know, so without sort of hot air stations and
2
sort of-
rocks.
yeah, well, a little bit more than that, you know, but yeah, I'm actually going to try doing it with like a really cheap solder station and stuff like that, because I know that, you know, it's all very well to say, hey, you know, I want to be able to recap this myself. My
Uh-oh.
apologies, that's me making that noise. But yeah, so I'm
He
going to
just
be.
hung up on his wife. He's not good.
Well, I thought for a second there that was the beginning song to the Sonic the Hedgehog. So I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, so yeah, no, sorry about that. And when that phone goes off, it just rings and it's so much noise. So anyhow, that's the landline. Remember those?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
I wish I still had one.
I need to get one back because mine sucks.
well, the yeah, so going to be lots of recapping videos. I might even try and live stream one of those. I've never live streamed before, so I want to give that a try. So if people sort of want to ask me questions as I go, that could be happening. I'm going to be doing a Quadra 660 AV sort of tear down and recap. So that's
Lovely.
There's one for Steve. You know. So,
see, Steve, what you've
I'll be
created.
following you along line.
Steve, you created a monster.
Yes. Yeah, Bruce will be doing it live, and I'll be trying to catch up. And at the end of the video, my fingers will be all burned, and his will look perfect.
So the so for me, there's going to be quite a few sort of videos on my channel with sort of recapping lots of different Macs. I mean, one of the things that I have found is that it's recapping. It should theoretically be once you've done one, you've done them all. But I definitely do get people searching for specific models of recapping. So I'll probably just keep adding videos of specific models. It'll get very, very dull, but at least people will be able to find out videos for their specific models. So yeah, so that's probably it for me.
All right, I have 2 birthdays I want to mention.
Uh-oh.
January 1999, the G3 Blue and White was announced.
Yes.
Very big day.
Yep.
January 2007, the first Apple TV was announced. And I'm still looking for others.
Huh.
Oh, January 1994, the first Quick Take.
Hey,
Yeah.
guess what was it? January of 1984 was the Mac.
The first Macintosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And January 2001, the Apple Pro speakers came out. And do we have any displays out of January?
Well, that also means that in January of 2001, the digital audio came out too.
Let me verify that. Yes, it did. And January 2002 was the Quicksilver.
Yeah.
January 2003, the FireWire 800. So,
Well,
January
actually, it
has
would have
a
been the
good month for
second
Apple.
Quicksilver.
What?
The second Quicksilver came out in January 2002.
No, we ignore first revisions, remember? They
Yes.
don't count. They do not count. And, January 2004, the Xserve Raid came out.
Well, if you want to get technical, the digital audio was the first revision.
I do not
of
want to get
Quicksilver.
technical. I don't.
Well, my Xserve RAID is actually still sitting here being used as a backup every now and then. I turn it on and let it back up and then turn it off.
So much porn.
That's right.
A lot of it needs to be backed up. It's very
Exactly. Got to have that for posterity's sake, you know?
Bruce Brock is asking if you are affected by the fires.
And I have just typed a reply, but essentially the short answer is, other than sort of lots and lots of bushfire smoke, not really. Most of the really bad stuff's happening sort of on the south coast, is sort of fair way south of where I am. I mean, here I'm in sort of Western Sydney, sort of ultimately suburbia. So we're fairly safe. No real sort of major bushland going on around me. But yeah, it's pretty shocking out here at the moment. I mean, it's very, very dry. We just haven't had any meaningful rain in such a long time, and there's none predicted until I think later this month. And yet, I mean, we just keep having day after day of these incredibly high temperatures, and it'll literally, I mean, it just takes virtually nothing to start a fire. I mean, one happened, a fire got started the other day when someone let off a firework. They just let off a firework out in a backyard somewhere, and an ember landed onto some grass, and the next thing you know, there's a huge grass fire going on. So yeah, it's not great, but today's quite a nice day. It's not too hot today, but yeah, that's just Australia for you.
Yeah, people actually choose to live
Guess
there.
what? Steve! Hey.
Steve,
All right, we're
perfect
done.
timing,
Good night,
right as we're
everybody. See you
ending the show.
Sorry. We usually go to 11. What's going on?
Oh, it's the, we already said that it's the holiday itis.
I like the background. Kudos to
Wendy.
to Wendy J.
And that was like on the fly. I changed it too, because if you watch the beginning of the show, I started off with the one I made, and then had to change it.
Yeah,
So-
we had the first background, and I hear my wife in the other room. She's like, "Hell no!" So she quickly made another one and sent it over. So now we got this.
So, speaking of that, Bruce has actually volunteered. If he becomes a permanent member of MACYAK, he could be our graphics person.
Oh,
So
Nice.
that Jay,
I'm not going to get in between that.
no. I'm talking about like the overlays.
I'm more than happy to share the job.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you guys duke it out.
No, the overlays, Jay. You do the overlays.
All I would say is that if my help is required, I would offer it. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
All right.
I think Jay's wife could take you.
Probably. She mean, dude.
Even Jay's afraid of her.
As I say, not trying to take anything away from anyone. Just saying, I am here if my help is required.
All right.
We can always appreciate doing the overlays at the last minute when someone forgets.
Yeah.
Always appreciative.
Yep.
Oi.
All right.
Yeah, your camera is blurry.
No, his back.
Yeah,
It's
it's the background. Yeah,
It's a filter option on Skype.
yeah, unless you want to read the receipts pinned on my whiteboard here, I'm going to leave it that way.
That works. Well, you arrived just in time because it is time for
Steve's archive.
Steve's archive adventures.
Wow, it's very fitting. Well, what was funny is I thought I was going to archive a disc here, and I think I already archived it. So this is the how the heck do you even?
It.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to read the darn thing. Hold on.
Well, you still can't see it. It's blurry.
I have the preference panel open. I'm going to unblur it. Hold your frickin' horses there, buddy. I'm on the stream for 5 seconds here. I'm already being rushed. So, it's Meckler Media's official internet worldwide yellow pages on CD-ROM.
That's a
So
mouthful.
This is for Mac and Windows. I imaged the Windows part of it, but not the Mac part. So I'm gonna have to do that.
What?
And well, thanks.
Priority,
And- I didn't have the I disconnected the SCSI CD drive on the power computing because I wanted to plug in a hard drive into it. It's been an interesting few days. Anyway, so instead of archiving that CD today, I stumbled upon a video that I want to share. And some of you have probably seen this because it was posted on YouTube a while back as part of a much longer video that was like an hour and a half. But this little piece is called We Are Manufacturing from 1991. And I'm going to paste in the chat box there.
Everybody's going to leave the stream.
No, I'm just saying, check it out later. It's not anything you're going to want to watch in a second because it's like 15 minutes long, and you should devote your entire attention to it. But essentially, it is the computer assembly process inside of an Apple factory. So taking a circuit board, having the machine solder on all the parts and everything. It's pretty interesting, as a time capsule to look back in 1991 and see how these machines were made.
Can you keep it down? I'm trying to watch this video now.
I'll just sign off. That'll make everyone happy.
All right, I have it open in a tab. I'll check it out after.
But it's pretty neat. I mean, you don't normally see stuff from inside of Apple, let alone these days, let alone a few years ago, or a few years ago, 30 years ago. But it's pretty cool to see everything's like electronically driven. There's these little machine kiosks that drive parts from one place to the other. There's a bunch of old Macs in shots there. There's a weird segment where they're showing the employees like playing basketball. It's just like very, very 1991.
Scripted.
Yeah, it's like, hey, everyone smile on the camera. We did not, agree to your Christmas bonus yet. Work harder. So it's pretty neat. They're assembling like a Macintosh 2CX and a 2CI. So Bruce should probably get a kick out of some of those things too. And probably see how they put this solder paste on, and then this machine injects all these little components there. So it's pretty interesting. And just seeing like there's a box of trays for like the floppy disk and the hard drive, just like a bin of these plastic parts, and it's like I wish you could have access to those parts today.
Yeah.
So
They've all been sealed up so that they haven't gone brittle.
Exactly. So it's a fun little video to watch, and it's just interesting to see how they like actually tested these machines and let them burn in for a bit and stuff like that. So highly recommend somebody, when you have the time, checking that out. It's pretty cool. It's a complete
Don't tell me what to do.
fest.
speaking of Blast from the Past, you had a fun live stream the other day, didn't you?
I did. Thank you for bringing that up. So this was something I was planning for a while, and every avenue I tried to go down to do this was blown up in my face. I was gonna run an application in classic mode on Power Mac G4, and I left that on. I'm not classic mode, just OS 9. So I left that machine on because I was recording it externally via a VGA capture thing. And I woke up in the morning and heard the hard drive die. So that was that. I was going to go and replace the hard drive and set everything up. And so I just went a different route and got that working. But that was a fun little stream. So for those of you who missed it, essentially I had this
Shame on you, first of all.
Yeah, shame.
Yeah.
For having fun during the New Year celebration.
Yeah, all 7 hours of this.
7 hours. I'm as surprised as you are that like 5 people, were watching it for the full. At least the majority of like the average viewer was like 4 or 5 views for like 7.5 hours. I'm like, all right, that's more attention than I would have put into it, but I'm the one streaming it. So for an unattended stream, I'd call that a success. And that was, I don't know, it was fun because you had this stupid little counter. And it's like it has like Bill Gates' wealth, which was so important in the 90s, and as a Mac person. And then you had the time and the inflation and all this stuff. It was pretty neat to look at. And at the end there, after midnight, I turned on
you just lost the plot after that point.
I put this piece of software called Star Wars Screen Entertainment, and just like little like characters walking around the screen stealing icons and stuff. I always got a kick out of that as a kid, so I put that on. So that was fun.
I actually bought that one.
My parents bought that one. I put it somewhere, but I always thought that was an entertaining piece of software. But it freezes the screen in order for it to work its magic of the characters stealing icons and stuff like that. So the countdown clock freezes. So I just waited till after midnight to enable that. I would have liked to have some goofy things going on in the background, so you're not just watching the clock, but. Maybe next year.
Yeah, once you started with that Star Trek stuff, I bailed. But the only thing I was waiting.
Okay, Bruce. Hold on. This is Jay's thing. Okay, you got to get. You'll understand what by listening to him. He does that on purpose.
Yeah, he does.
Maybe I do. Maybe I.
No, you do.
Anyway, I was waiting for that printer to do something. How'd you pull that off?
So I had a layer in OBS. I actually tried to do an animated PNG, but it didn't work out as I wanted to. And of course, at this time, I'm making stuff to bring to the party, and my wife's yelling at me, "Are we ready to go yet?" And I'm like setting up the stream before we go. So what I did was I set up a PNG of that paper with the Happy 2020 on it, and I VNC'd into my Mac while I was at the party. So that's dedication, and enabled that layer over VNC for it to appear on the stream. So that's why I was a little early. I had to, make sure my camera was out on my phone to take some pictures during New Year's.
Right. Very nice. Very nice. I enjoyed it. I had the stream going. I think I missed the first hour, but then I saw the notification like, oh crap, that's right. So I turned it on and let it run.
I saw someone else on YouTube doing something similar at the next day, because you go to YouTube and it suggests, recent videos and things. And there's a guy on YouTube, the Nostalgia Nerd, and he did one that was a defragging of a hard drive from this old like DOS prompt of defragging live, and it went on for like 12 hours. So I think mine was a little more entertaining. I think that.
Yeah, I would prefer yours.
No text to read, no intro or anything. It was just defragging a hard drive. But I thought that was pretty funny though. I probably would watch a few minutes of that live.
Probably not, but maybe.
A few minutes after 12 hours. That's okay.
I got to think of something maybe next year for MACYAK's channel to do that. Maybe do something live like that. And
yeah, we could figure out something fun.
I mean not for us to be on it, of course, but something that's automated, or something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, we start a week before the year is up, and we all point a camera at our cheek right here, and you can see the beards growing for a week.
You see my beard grow, and you can see my hair wither away. That's what you'll see.
The beard comes in, and the hair goes away. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
It just falls through your head, like. Comes out the bottom. I'm familiar.
There's nothing in between, so it's.
Or we could all just get hammered. Just start at 10 p.m. Just chat it up.
Jay will be on the chat at 10 a.m. I thought we were starting. What's going on?
Well, you know, now that I'm on
I'll be nursing a hangover.
now that I'm on the East Coast, I mean, now we actually have one guy that's like clear across the world, so that's going to be a difficult to get us all together.
Yeah.
Why is that difficult?
Okay,
I start drinking at 2 p.m.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I can be there, but I will be hungover from the night before. That's
Yeah.
the only problem. Because I've already had my New Year's Eve when you've had yours.
Yeah, like about 10 hours before we have ours.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
A few thousand kilometers.
That damn international date line. Damn it.
Yeah.
It's moving, right? You just grab it and.
What is it? Sydney?
We're slipping,
Sydney is
guys.
actually the very first one to celebrate New Year's, right?
No, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Auckland, I think, somewhere.
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So New Zealand get it 2 hours before us, I think. Yeah, 2 hours before. So, yeah.
Well, the party doesn't really start until it hits Australia, so you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Don't tell them that. Goodness.
See what they get for their troubles. Fires.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's those New Zealanders trying to burn it down. So
I heard some people were still stupid enough to set off fireworks in Sydney, though.
Yeah.
That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the actual sort of the big celebration fireworks though, and they went off in the centre of Sydney, but the ones in sort of the outskirts, they were all cancelled because it's all too dry.
Yeah.
So we can still watch them on TV. So there.
Sorry, Grudy, are you telling me that your backyard is full of dog shit?
Yeah. It's the country, Jay. Just
Oh my
don't step in it.
I'm not going to go there.
It goes away. It goes away in about a week or two.
But then they're adding like more.
Oh, must be wonderful. Bacon in the hot sun. Remind me not to visit you anytime soon.
I don't know
Well, trust me, you can't even really.
if
smell
West
it.
Virginia's.
Not really, just a little.
I live in the country.
That's
It's a common
okay.
thing.
Okay.
Every
Do you take a
yard
crap
in the
outside?
country has dog crap. in it.
There's a pop for Greg and a pop for the dog. And next to it, there's a Windows PC.
All right, guys, we're slipping. Let's wrap
all
it
right.
up.
Yeah.
We should continue this kind of chat on Discord.
Yes, we could go to Discord for this. And speaking of which, we'll transition over that. After the show, if you guys want, some of us go to Discord and hang out there on voice chat. Some of us. I didn't say all of us. Our Discord.
Steve will be there.
Our
though.
Discord channel's on the bottom down there, so go ahead and join up if you want to. Remember, if you're a new member, we do have a new way of joining now. You're going to get in there, and you're only going to see one channel. Okay? Make sure you read through the rules, because you have to do something that's in those rules in order to actually get permission to do everything else.
Yes.
Also, remember, our Discord is 16 and up only. If you are under 16, please do not come into our Discord. And the only reason why we're doing that is that we have to protect ourselves a little bit there and to keep the children out. All this COPPA stuff that's come up nowadays, we just don't need the added aggravation. Speaking of which, this channel, all the videos are not kid-friendly listed, because otherwise we can't have chat, believe it or not,
Yeah.
or comments. So
Technically, these videos are for 18 and up.
yeah. So anyways, but
Fun times.
but it's just the way things are nowadays. I mean, this stupid laws in our country here in the United States, unfortunately. I'm not sure if it's like that in Australia there yet, but
I mean, all this sort of stuff that happens, it impacts us obviously because we're using all these things, and they don't really change the rules for us.
Yep.
So, if we put content on, it's seen anywhere in the world, so we have to follow the rules that that they have.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyways, but that's just the way it is. So join us over
Steve
there.
just got scolded for getting excited.
Yeah.
Just make sure you guys thumbs up this video. put a like on there for us. Make sure you subscribe.
We are not ending until there's 12 likes. Come on.
What did you say? You broke up again.
Yeah, you're
Stop getting excited, Steve.
I'll shut up.
So
Bit of distortion coming in.
yeah, make sure we get the likes up there, guys. We want to get those thumbs ups. Also, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon for notification, even though half the time it doesn't work because sometimes I don't get you guys.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's YouTube thing. So anyways, that's going to be about it. Unless we got anything else. You guys have anything?
No, I don't think so.
Bruce
Other
already
than
told us
I
what
could
he's gonna
mention
be up
something
to.
about my giveaway that's still going on.
That reminds me, I have a giveaway to do.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you got your giveaway to go too.
You got 1.6K subscribers now, I think, right? Or 1.16?
YouTube must do them in chunks because I got like 50 like that, and I'm like, okay. So
Yeah,
that's what I was
so you
complaining
definitely
already.
need to do your giveaway.
Yes, that's will be my next video, I'm sure.
But my giveaway is still going on too, and I'll still have that hat giveaway if they ever mail me the hat.
Just
So
give away yours.
No.
no,
That's having to wait on merchandise, doesn't it?
Use
Yeah.
merchandise.
All right,
It has
guys.
Birdie
But,
sweat on it.
Hey, Steve, did you have a rough day?
Why?
I don't know. You seem a little. Your fuse seems a little short tonight, which is
Oh,
perfect
no.
for playing UT.
Let's go. Come on, right now. Let's do it.
See, that's it. He had a rough day. Right.
All right, guys. So we're going to say catch you guys later, and we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Happy New
Yep,
Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
see
Year.
you guys.